I wanted to share a small grouping of nephrite, Paleo Story Stone face and Mammoth effigies. And nephrite is a form of jade. There are two forms of jade: nephrite, which is a highly fibrous and very compacted, very tough material. And then we have jadeite, which is a little more gemmy, oftentimes in color, beautiful emerald green, apple green, and I'd say one of the most important would be the imperial green. And jadeite's a little more crystalline and not fibrous like nephrite. But these are all three nephrite jade specimens. This one from Big Sur, and these two from the rivers of Siberia, Russia. And these two in the back are very beautiful. Obviously, they were found on the surface. 90% of the jade and every kind of stone that's not in a quarry area, 90% of the jade we find today on the surface have been worked by our paleo ancestors over 11,000 years ago. The Big Sur jade, 95% of it found on the beaches and from the divers in the ocean. It's all been in the middens, fellas, and I know that's hard to take. I know you don't like to sell jade that's been in the middens, but it's all been in the middens. The Paleo Indians found this jade way before any of us did, over 11,000 years ago, and they modified the stone slightly by pecking it, grooving it sometimes braiding it, especially around the edges, to form Paleo Story Stone face and Mammoth effigies. And remember that the sea level was about more than 200 feet lower 11,000 years ago than it is today. So the shelf that extends out from Jade Cove, a lot of that area along the coast is less than 200 feet deep for a long way out into the ocean. Well, 11,000 years ago, that would have all been dry land. The ocean has risen some 200 feet over the last 11,000 years due to the glacier polar ice cap melts since the end of the last ice age 10,000 years ago. So we've had natural global warming going on for the last 10,000 years, and that's why the rise in sea level. So these that were found by divers, this one here found by a diver at Big Sur, in 40 feet of water would have been, well, that would have been 160 feet at least above sea level 11,000, 12,000 years ago when our paleo ancestors worked these stones. So our paleo ancestors worked every kind of stone on the planet, some that we didn't even know about. We didn't know about grape agate coming from Indonesia until 2015. And the Paleo Indians use that routinely for making Paleo Story Stone face and Mammoth effigies. We didn't know that our paleo ancestors carved, flaked, grooved, etched, and carved these beautiful Paleo Story Stone face and Mammoth effigies out of Andara volcanic glass, which I have had tested at the Stephen F. Austin State University in Austin, Texas, in their geology department, confirming that it is naturally occurring volcanic glass and not man-made slag glass as previously thought by many. Dr. Michael Gramley also tested this glass and confirmed to me as well that it was naturally occurring glass and not man-made glass from the test results that his laboratory produced. So it's been tested independently twice at reputable laboratories. Stephen F. Austin State University is a very well-respected research university. But these are very interesting stones. These have all been worked, and let's show you some of the workmanship on these. This area right here is, now remember, these are ocean polished, so the workmanship on this is going to be obscured and smoothed over from the tumbling in the ocean. Not for 11,000 years. This was in the middens for a long, long time before it ended up back in the ocean again. But it has been tumbled some in the ocean. But where you can see the workmanship, the ancient workmanship, that's been smoothed over some now, that's all been abraded. You can see it. It looks like the edge of a mono against a matate bowl. That's all been used, ground there. That's been ground, this whole area. From here all the way to here. That's been ground big time in paleo times. Now, it's been smoothed over from ocean polishing, so you have to understand that. And what we have here is we have the mature mammoth with its trunk facing down, facing off to the left. And we have some faces here. We have this inclusion, this darker stone with the eye and the nose and mouth of the older face looking off to the right. And then we have the younger pointed nose face with even using this as the eye. That's been worked. That's been grooved right there in paleo times. That is not natural, folks. Not natural at all. And most of the damage you see on the edges, you think it's damage, you think it's broken off from hitting rocks. Most of it is not. Most of it is our workmanship here from our paleo ancestors. So you have this eye and nose of the older face, young face with a pointed nose looking off to the left, and you have another face below it. So this is the eye, nose, mouth, and you have a shaman cap, pointed shaman horn he's wearing there. And then you have the younger face with this eye grooved out right there, and the nose over here facing off to the left. And like I say, that's the mature mammoth facing left. And when you turn it this way, now we have the upturned nose of the baby mammoth, upturned trunk of the baby mammoth facing off to the right. But what I wanted to share with you here as well as very intentional, not only did they groove this, probably with sandstone. The Maori tribe of New Zealand has been carving jade using sandstone for thousands of years. Sandstone is mainly comprised of quartz, and it will abrade and cut and groove jade all day long, as the Maori have shown us in scientific fact. That's just scientific fact. So quartz can be used as well. Quartz is much harder than jade. Jade's 6 to 6.5 on the Mohs scale, and quartz is 7, probably to 7.5. Now, that's all work there, but the cool part is they did that intentionally too, because they wanted to show you a face right here. And that is the eye, and nose of a face looking at us right there. Eye, and mouth down here of a face looking at us there. That was done intentionally, absolutely for sure. Absolutely for sure. And then we have another face here. Eye, and open mouth of a face looking at us right there. That's in that polished area. All they had to do was chip it just a little bit. There's another face over here that's been pecked in. At the very end here. Yes, there it is right there. That's probably the young face. Eye, and nose right in the middle of that little face right there that's been pecked, chipped into that area that's all been worked. And then we have that cool face, eye, and mouth down here looking at us right there. Very cool, very cool. And they did that intentionally, without a doubt. So I just wanted to show you how ancient workmanship looks. This could have been a pick for perforating leather. It's rather sharp on this end, and it looks like it's been worked. This could have been a tool that was modified into a Paleo Story Stone face and Mammoth effigy. This is one from Siberia. This came from the river. It's river polished. We have, this area has been worked here, and the big sweeping trunk of the mature mammoth facing off to the right. We have a face with this, the eye, big nose and mouth looking up from the back of the mammoth there. And then we have the baby mammoth with its trunk down here, massive hair tuft above the head, facing off to the left. And then we have this side is the work side. This is the work side, and it's worked for the faces. All those chips there were made intentionally. That's not normal to jade. That was all bang. There's a face, an eye, and a mouth down here. Intentionally done, folks. I know it's hard to believe, but when you see the workmanship, look at the bang, 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 bang. There's 4 holes there, and there's another 4 holes here. And what they did was they took quartz and kind of drilled or chipped into this to make a ridge for the face of the big rounded-nosed individual with a hairdo that's all been pecked into the jade, now facing off to the right. Wow, that is so cool. That's all workmanship there. This lip here has protected the workmanship. So even though that this has been smoothed up here from river tumbling, that has not. It's been in the protected area, so you can see the ancient tooling. And then, of course, you have the nose, the pointed nose of the younger face with the sloped back forehead here, facing off to the left. And that's exactly how they did that. They modified that very slightly. And then, of course, we have the Mammoth now facing off to the left, mature mammoth, and then we have the baby mammoth with its massive hair tuft and little trunk off to the right. But this side's been beautifully worked here. All those peck marks are peck marks, and there's another face right here they did. Here's the eye they pecked into it, the eye they pecked into it, and then they grooved this mouth here. It's kind of a grinning face at you here. Eye, and a slanted mouth there. And that's all been worked here too. You can see that all bang, bang, bang. Another face there, no doubt. Let's see, this way. Absolutely, right here, boom, boom. That's all been worked. So this is a duck egg jade, duck egg cayenne jade from Siberia. It's a very rare nephrite, very desirable nephrite. It's called duck egg nephrite. It's got a lot of chatoyancy to it. Very beautiful stone. And then we have this one from Siberia as well. This is a beauty. That's the mature mammoth. This eye has been worked here. This area has been worked right here. And we have faces here now, an eye and a nose over here looking off to the right of the younger face. And then we have an older face with this, the eye, big nose over here off to the right. And then we have another younger face with this, the eye, nose down here, and hairdo up here. And some of that hairdo, all that's been worked. All that's been chipped. That is not natural, folks. That's all been chipped. And there's some faces, no doubt, right in here as well that have been worked and anciently chipped. Remember, this has been tumbled in a river. So the flaking, the workmanship is smoothed over, and it's not easy to see unless you're accustomed to looking at wind-blown flaking scars or river-worn scars, as I am. I'm very familiar with that, with hunting arrowheads and spear points on the Kansas River out of Manhattan, Kansas, with my friend and colleague Dan Fox, who graciously invited me back to hunt both spear points and arrowheads on the gravel bars in the Kansas River and other tributaries in the Manhattan area, as well as hunting the flaked stone in wind-blown areas of the Mojave Desert, which smoothed the flaking scars and the workmanship as well. You can see some engraving here. It appears probably as a headband now for a face, looking off to the left, this young face, eye and nose, and then we have kind of a headband going up. So this is a great mammoth here. That's a big bull mammoth with his front leg and back leg facing off to the left. And then we have a mature mammoth facing off to the left. And we have that baby mammoth with his little trunk and massive hair tuft now facing off to the right. This is a beautifully done Paleo Story Stone that's all been worked in Paleolithic times. There's some faces that have been pecked in there as well. That's all ancient workmanship that's been river polished. So it's not crisp like it was 11, 12,000 years ago or older. But that's what that is. It's workmanship. And a lot of the edges of these stones have been worked all the way around. They've been worked here at this one right here. I didn't show you that, but this whole side here, you can see that workmanship right there where it's been beveled. That whole bevel there, it's just scraped all the way down. Again, like a mono, that's been all worked there. So all these stones have been worked in Paleolithic times, and they are Nephrite Jade, Paleo Story Stone, Face and Mammoth Effigy offerings from Siberia, and very cool, made to stand upright from Big Sur. Here's the face looking up from the back of the mammoth, and the baby mammoth's trunk up in the air. Paleo Story Stone, Face and Mammoth Effigies, very commonly carved out of jade found on the surface all around the world.